Here we are. It's still hot, isn't it? That's it.
Still hot.
Is it still hot? No, this is weird. This is our second episode of the day, but this one's going to come out first.
This one's going to come out first, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a half year catch up, basically.
Yeah.
We thought that it is literally pretty much exactly halfway through the year. We hit the summer solstice, 2 days ago as we're recording this?
Yeah.
And yeah, we wanted to sort of catch up on what we've been doing so far and like how the season's going so far. Well, a quarter of a season for me, but yeah.
But there is every still chance that it is still hot in the UK right now. And when this comes out, we'll be on holiday, right?
Yes, we will.
So it will be hot where we are as well, hopefully.
We'll be,
That's it, yeah. So we will be on our sun lounges in Tenerife, both of us, when we go, and you guys will be listening to this at work.
Yeah, we'll be listening.
Sorry, that was very smart, wasn't it?
Or we'll be inside in the nice aircon, hotel.
Yeah, and you're at work, or on the way to a wedding,
But right now we are sat sweating in your house. So.
We are, yeah. So we're putting ourselves through this punishment now. So when you're listening to this, we feel your pain. Yeah. So yeah, it's mad, isn't it, to feel that I shot a wedding on Saturday, which was the day before Solstice Day.
Yeah.
And it was a wedding a rare one where I actually was booked all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of where some of this kind of came out, is that to like seaside wedding, being there at like midnight, it not getting dark till like once you got through blue hour, it was like 20 past, 10:15.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I think I kind of finished the wedding and went and kind of stood stood on the beach for a little minute and kind of like, breeze, and was like, it's mad to think that like after tomorrow, like we're on that slow roll into Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, this was really odd. Like I feel like this year's been packed with so much, but has genuinely gone by. Like it doesn't feel that we should be at that turning point already.
No. I often don't see it like that though, even though like technically like light wise it is like that. I still think like July and August are like peak summer.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like you're on your way until August, until people like go back to school or whatever.
I guess when you finish that like August bank holiday and that marks like the end of British summertime, I think it kind of feels much more apparent then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I must admit, like, it is nice to be in summer. I love summer weddings, but I think some of the weeks around here where you do end up waiting for a sunset till like 9 p.m, 9:15 to get that very last light, it can feel that you end up doing, probably I find that my full day package is, although it's based on 10 hours, is pretty much 3 hours before ceremony till 1 hour after dancing or sunset. You do feel that you're doing some of your longest shifts of the year in the weddings around this time.
Definitely, yeah. And sometimes you're dragging it out for something that either the couple aren't that enthused by or don't really care that much, but like, or even it's not that they don't care, but like maybe you've got all the dancing you need, but you know it's an hour till sunset, so you're just filming for the sake of it.
Or again, it's like your sunset shoot's going to be 9:15. Say the first dance is 7:30, 8 o'clock. You know really that the couple are probably going to be a little bit more drunk than they were if you took them out before dancing, or more in the frame of mind to go and have that. Like it feels less that you've pulled them away from the party's probably starting to bubble up towards that last hour kind of thing, and then it's like, now you want them to go and kind of be sweet in a field, where if you kind of do that before they go back to the party bit, it can feel quite disjointed, kind of. Like I've been quite lucky in that the wedding I was at on Saturday was a game of two halves. They had an early ceremony with his family and then only had like the big reception in the evening. So I think it felt less like that because it wasn't as if the guests had been there all day anyway. So for them to take like a little pit stop out was quite nice. And then the wedding the week before that, their kind of evening was broken into two halves of like some dancing with the first dance and then like a DJ, and then they DJ'd as like kind of like a kickstart to the second part of the evening, and then they had some friends who were DJs to kind of finish the night off. So it almost felt like the first bit was the first dance, but that was only the warm up for the big event. So if anything, the sunset was like a nice prelude to kind of get them to go away, and then she went and changed outfits, the bride, before coming back for the big party. So that meant I left even later. That sunset shoot that was at like say 9 o'clock, it almost felt like the 7 o'clock one that you do in September. So it was kind of odd, but I think it was just a weird thing to kind of stand there and think, we are pretty much 6 months.
I just love having the extra light and stuff after the dinner wedding breakfast. It just makes everything so much more chilled. Like I like just being like, do you know what? I haven't got that much at the moment, but we can always take the couple out or do some more groups later with the bridal party or whatever it is. Like I've had a few people this year ask about like smoke grenades and champagne sprays and stuff, probably because of my style. Not that I would endorse smoke grenades particularly, but
Yeah.
I quite like what they bring in terms of the energy if the couple bring it. And I say, look, like, do them in the evening because no one wants to like do it like in amongst the formals when it's. But if it's like a October wedding, I couldn't say do it in the evening because it'd be too dark by that point anyway. So
I think as well that there's one of the things that we covered in probably one of those really really early episodes. I think those kind of how-tos that we did probably a good couple of years ago now, and I think that you kind of utilised that like post-dinner, post-speeches, before dancing time. Almost like what some people call it the lull. Sometimes in the summer it's a second drinks reception.
Yeah.
But you utilise that time to take bridal party out and do some of those things.
Yeah.
And almost fill that with that kind of like amping up to the party.
Yes, that's it,
or stuff like that. And I think that that's something that when we've worked weddings together, I've seen you do sort of really well. But I think maybe again it kind of ties back to why the summer weddings are probably when you're at your busiest, because that doesn't work at other times. Like it's very much the time scale or the timeline that you like to work with most works best in this kind of next sort of, the 2 weeks before now and the 6 weeks in front of now. I
think it's pretty obvious, and you've pointed out quite a lot, that what I show and what like the way I sort of operate is easier to like envision for a July and August wedding, which is why we sit here and you've done double the amount of weddings I had and almost half your weddings of the year already, and I've only done a quarter of my weddings for the year.
And I think that's maybe some of the reason again this episode came out. I kind of had my little moment on the beach where I was like, just done the wedding. That was wedding number 14. I've got one next Friday. That's wedding number 15. I'm doing 30 this year. That's halfway. And I'm almost feeling that obviously now we're on holiday when this comes out, but I'm going to go away on holiday really feeling that chapter 1 or the first half, if we're going to go into World Cup references because the football's on, that the first half of the year is done. I'm sat in the dressing room eating my orange before I come back in for the for the last half of the year. Where for you it is a different story, isn't it?
I'm going to come back from holiday and that's when it gets crazy for me because most of my bookings are July, August into September. Which is kind of normal for me. Like as I've spoken about on the pod before, like I've had Julys where I've had 10, 11 bookings. This July isn't as crazy, but July and August is obviously when the majority of my bookings are. Again, I show sunny weddings, I show summer weddings. I constantly talk about how like I like to do stuff after the dinner because I just think that anything that involves too much getting involved is so much better after people have had a few drinks.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you try and do, like smoke grenades during the formals, it's like at that point they're in formal photo mode, they're smiling. It's like, oh, now we're doing smokes, and it's like, smile at the camera, and it's not the kind of vibe you want. I'd much rather do it when people are a little bit more relaxed. I'll just put my jacket on. No, mate, leave your jacket off. I don't care. It's...
I think dinner is such a reset for couples and guests alike, and for us as well.
Yeah.
Like I remember being at that really long wedding that I did, not the one on Saturday just past, but the week before, and we were all at long weddings, weren't we, that day? And messaging you guys at dinner on our little group chat, being like, I literally feel like I've spent the whole day chasing my own tail.
Yeah.
Where, like, again, the prep was at a house, like, to then dash over to the venue, and then because the dress was on late, I got to the venue late, and then, like, straight into ceremony without kind of chance for a breather, and then that to confetti, to groups, to candids, to dinner room,
You're on
to
the conveyor
this.
belt.
And again, I was always chasing the next thing. I was struggling to be present in capturing, just to let stuff come to me, because I was always chasing the next thing. And if you feel like that, the couple definitely feel like that. And I remember, like, walking them kind of to dinner on this kind of shopping, and then being like, I just want a day to slow down a little bit.
And I was like, it does go quickly.
And I was like, at dinner it will,
Yeah.
because you've almost getting like 2 hours of almost just sitting with each other and a much smaller number of guests. You can get up and move around, but again, it's slower. And once you come out at the end, particularly if you're going to speak before food, it's literally the dance left. That's the last kind of thing to worry about. But you've still got, again, a whole half of a day to just kind of be. And I really righted myself in the second half of that wedding. And I think,
right, I've caught up now. What do I need to do? Yeah.
And I think it definitely does make a big game changer, I think, to have dinner at that point, or say to put those things in post dinner when people are either calmer because they don't feel they're missing out on something else by doing it. They've definitely had some table wine and feel much more relaxed with it.
Yeah.
And also they've seen you at work. You've probably built up a little bit of rapport for other parts of the day. That they feel more relaxed with you as well.
100%,
I think that definitely helps,
So how, with that said about you having done almost half your weddings, how are you doing with your backlog and things like that? Are you feeling pretty...
At the moment, I'm feeling good. Like, I think, again, I've done those half weddings, and they've been an absolute mixture as well of really long days, like the one I just had. And there's also been a couple of 2 hours in there and a couple of, like, half days. So I think they've always fallen pretty nicely this year, that I haven't had, say, 2 or 3 full day edits on the bounce. There's always been something kind of little chucked in the middle, which kind of feel that you're staying on top of it. I think I'm going to go away on holiday with probably 3 or 4 on the pile, which isn't too bad. If I can deliver one that I've got before we go away, that means that I feel like I'm holding my own with that 6-week deadline, which I always say to my couple 6 to 8 weeks, but I always try and deliver in 6. I think anything less than that is too soon, and anything longer than that, it starts to get away from me. So if I can get that one done before we've left, I will feel in a really good place then, that because I had a little gap in my weddings as well, 6 weeks before this. So that as long as I deliver the one that I've got, when I come back, it's not as if I've got to rush straight into having to deliver 2 because I've lost a week.
Yeah, you won't be just chasing your tail on
deadlines. And kind of looking forward, like my July as a whole is quieter. I think I've only got 2 or 3 weddings in July, and then I hit August and September, which are busier. So I do have faith that kind of, if I can get through this holiday where I'm out of the game for a week, I will then go into the kind of the second half of my year really holding my own with my edits. And I think for me, like mentally, that's where the wheels can fall off for me in other years, is if I've let the summer get away, I've let the editing get away from me, when I start to maybe feel more tired in the August time, the getting to my desk knowing I've got 8 or 9 edits to do, that's when I kind of start to spiral. So if I can hold my own with that as well, I hopefully that
it feels almost like a physical weight sometimes. Like there's a physical weight on your shoulders of this, of like every wedding adds another like kilo to your shoulders, and you just kind of feel like emotion, like, or like psychologically, you feel like you can do less with your time. Personal time, because you're like, well, I've got...
No, don't get me wrong as well, like the days that we shoot in the summer are long and they're exhausting as well. For the heat today, we're sat in here talking into mics and it's hard. You're not out in the sun unprotected running around trying to wrangle things. Is that you should want to kind of have easier weeks, and being sat at your desk should be kind of almost the easier part of the labour of the weddings.
My phone's overheated as you say that. It's literally not
like
working at all.
At the weekends, it should, that the weeks should feel easier, shouldn't they?
I'm often a victim of this, but like you do weddings on Saturday, Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, but then you still work in the edit Monday to Thursday.
Particularly when it comes to previews and stuff as well. And there's a whole episode in itself about when and how quickly you should deliver teasers and previews and stuff. But I even still find that, even when you get to your desk on the Monday, hopefully there's some inquiries coming for the weekend you need to get back to. You probably need to look at some previews from that Saturday wedding. So the Monday alone is probably written off in just kind of tidying up admin from the weekend, let alone trying to then start into culling and editing a whole wedding ready for delivery at the end of that week, and then prepping for the next wedding. And
exactly. It's a lot.
That doesn't feel that light, does it, when you're trying to go, well, I should probably squeeze a day off in there somewhere because I've worked all weekend.
But it's nice that it sounds like yours are a bit more spread out. Like I definitely find that July and August is normally a write-off for me. Like I'm normally just, which is fine because I don't particularly do much like during the school holidays anyway. Like if me and Kate do the same, we'll do something during the week, or we'll find if we do something a weekend away or whatever, it won't be during school holidays.
Because you'll pay a premium for it and it's busy.
Exactly. But it does get a bit like, by the time September rolls around, I'm always absolutely shattered because of like those 2 months. But again, worth it for what I do. But it's been nice to have a little bit of a slow build up to like the busy period. My weddings have been like pretty chilled, I would say, up until I've had a wedding last weekend before last, and that was probably my first where I was like, this feels like a summer wedding. You're sort of, you're outside, it's sunny, the party's absolutely nuts when you go, like sort of it's marquee. That felt like probably one of the first like weddings. I'm like, okay, this is
like a spice wedding.
I don't know. The energy was there. Like that vibe that people give when it's sunny and when there's energy in the day. That was probably the first. But other than that, like I've done a few on my own, which has been different.
Which is odd because normally that you'd say like other years you've been pretty much almost like with me with my 2-hour bookings, you might do 2 or 3 by yourself, and everything's been with. But then I think that when you started the year, I think probably your first few of the year were solo, weren't they? Which felt really odd.
So my first 2 were with 2 videographers. Because I did both of them with Josh.
On the Easter weekend,
And then I think I did 3 solos after that, which I was like, this is very weird for me doing 3 solos in a row. Because I was missing Josh over there. No, but I was kind of like, I'm not used to this, but it was actually quite good. I quite enjoyed it in a different kind of way, because there's something about a wedding that has 2 videographers, 2 photographers, maybe a content creator, that feels so different to when it's just me and a photographer.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels so much more personal when it's just me and the photographer vibing off of each other.
Yeah.
And
Well, I guess again, you deal with each other. You haven't got their second to contend with. They haven't got to think about your second to contend. Like, because potentially if it fell that way, there could be 4 people on the couple shoot and sort of things like that. Which is I've
done a mixture of different vibes. Like some of them have been like just super chilled out. Like one of them had a couple of other weddings, like celebrations of the day. So that was just like we'll just get everyone together for a sort of like traditional English wedding, I guess.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of like more like family orientated days, and then a couple that have been more party orientated. So it's been a good mix. But I know like that my sort of the ones that have booked the Spice Wedding films, weddings, if you want to call them that, are definitely to come, because I'm having those calls now with people, and I'm like, oh, okay, like this is going to be.
But do you feel as well though, by having that? I don't want to say a slower start to the year, but maybe some of those more sort of slower paced days at the start of the year, you kind of feel like when you kind of do that first wedding back of the year, there's always that little bit of kind of like, okay, I need to get the wheels moving again. Almost like they've got you on a nice gentle roll now, that when you start stepping up the gears to go to those weddings, you're feeling ready for it. The engine's warm and you're raring to go.
Because sometimes, because like you walk up to the first wedding of the year and I'm like, can I really bring the energy that I brought last summer? And like, but being able to do it in little bits and be like, okay, like a couple of weddings ago, I organised champagne spray. I was like, they were just like, oh, we're going to do some stuff in the evening. And I was like, I saw a bottle of champagne up in your room.
Yeah.
Like earlier on, you didn't drink it. You were planning on drinking it, but you didn't. You just want to spray it with your mates. And they're like, yeah. So I organised that. But the rest of the wedding, I was quite hands off. So it wasn't like a summer one where I'm constantly going, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah.
It was just that. So being able to like warm up by doing those little bits, and also I quite enjoy the ones that are a little bit quieter as well. As much as like the ones that I show are probably ones where I worked my absolute tees off.
Yeah.
And those are probably like the ones that you see on the homepage of my website. I can look back and be like, that was so intense those days.
It's like a nice kind of summary of the graph that you put into it. Yeah.
But equally, I love doing ones that are just more about like they've not got much going on, but then you can sit back, like you say, and not feel like you're chasing your tail, and actually be a bit more creative, get like a bit more candid stuff, that kind of thing.
And I guess as well, prominence in the film, because that's something that I kind of underestimate, I think, being a photographer, is that, we pretty much shoot a day from beginning to end and you deliver everything. It's not like, where you technically, the more that someone crams into their day, if they've still only booked that 8-minute film, you have to start making decisions in the edit of what goes in.
Yeah.
And if the rest of the day was really party, there might be a couple of really lovely, more tender moments. But if they don't really fit with the kind of more higher energy paced parts of the rest of the day, they're probably the things that are going to end up in the keepsake or on the cutting room floor in the space, in expense for keeping the party going. So so to almost, I guess, if you have some of those slower days, it almost allows you to kind of use different weapons in your arsenal, doesn't it? To kind of go, okay, this is me more the day was more about the family and the moment. I can make a film like that because I'm not having to leave champagne sprays and stuff out to include those in the film. So
I posted one very recently, which was like it was a couple and they got 2 kids, and they had the standard like before the ceremony, like they played the message from the kids to the groom, and it was like different to the pace that I would normally film at. But I enjoyed it just as much because it allowed me to focus on something. Again, I believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like I always show that stuff, but because when I deliver the longer films, it has a lot more of that in it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who follow you only know you for your Instagram content, which is probably quite different to my longer films.
And also I think as well is that's probably a really great example of that kind of making a film for your peers and making a film for your couple, because we all know the original one that Owen did, is it from Joel? Like here, the one that he did. And again, it's great. It went absolutely viral, and I'm sure that's probably inspired lots of the moment, like the ones now that people have been sent that or seen that. But at the end of the day, they probably saw that one and go, oh, that's really cool. That makes us want to do it. And then they get their own version on the day. But I'm sure that there's probably lots of videographers out there that have filmed that and goes, well, I can't share it as a reel now because it'll just feel like I'm copying that. And it's like, your couple don't see that.
No, they don't.
They literally see, oh, this is really cool. The amount of times
they've seen it on Instagram probably before, and that's why.
But the amount of times you've sat in a planning meeting, and they go, oh, so we're thinking of doing this, and you've got another one this year. Yeah. But you still kind of make it out to them and go, oh, that'd be really cool, and it will be really lovely. It's almost that example, isn't it, of not getting jaded by the industry and what everybody else is posting, and going, no, this couple really want that because that is their little boy talking before their mum walks down the aisle. And when you rein it back to that, it doesn't matter if 6 people have done it before. Like, there's probably like reveals or first kisses at every ceremony, but it's still just as magical for that couple. And I think that's a really good example of remembering that sometimes that it's not always about chasing what's fast or what's cool to share for you. It's about just making that sentimental couple stuff for the couple. And
I said this on the pod before that I will make a teaser even if I haven't promised a teaser. If I find something in the wedding that I can focus on, or like the energy that much that I want to do a teaser, I'll do one, but it will usually be for me, for marketing purposes. For this, obviously it was a package with one videographer, which only includes the teaser. But it was nice to be able to, rather than my usual approach of, okay, like they've got singing waiters, I've better include them, we've got this like big party, I've got to like find a really upbeat song and like plaster it on, get some camcorder stuff in there. I knew this couple just booked the venue. And then, they had some decent stuff there, but it was more about family. There was so many kids there, and so I could tell it was more about family, and it was nice to be able to hone into something a little bit different to what people, I guess, expected.
And I guess as well, it makes it less samey for you as well, doesn't it? It's nice to almost, and we talk a lot about building your brand and finding those ideal clients and marketing to those. But if you do it too well, to a degree, you probably do run the risk of making a very similar thing over and over again. And if that's what you like, it's not going to get old. But at the same time, it's still nice, like you say, to kind of lean on some other strengths of the things that you do to make something different. And I think kind of interestingly, that might like lead on quite well that, I started to say earlier that the weddings that I've shot have been a mix of kind of longer and shorter days, but also kind of some stats on it is that I've still, out of those 14, 15 weddings, I've worked with 0 content creators so far this year, and I've done 1 wedding with a videographer. Me and Josh did a wedding at Easter weekend for a couple where he was the videographer, and that's it. So halfway through the weddings of the year.
That doesn't surprise me.
1 videographer, no content creators. But also, I will say, is that I think I've had at least 2 or 3 weddings where dad, a brother, a bridesmaid have had the family camcorder that's come out, or they've bought a camcorder particularly for that moment. So the camcorder thing is alive and well. And I think, but there's people wanting to just kind of do that for a bit of fun for themselves rather than hire someone.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think I've said it before. I think I think the way you come across and your personality. While I don't think you have anything against content creators,
definitely not.
I think you have your style and your couples don't like content as a whole, like the word content, or like the idea of your wedding being content.
Yeah, and they'll never hear me call it content at all. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and so like your couple is the stuff that's like considered content for photographers, like the couple shoot and those editorial bits. That's not your priority, and that's not your couple's priority, and so having all of that, tons of photos, tons of video, tons of is not necessarily their thing. They just want a low key. A lot of your couples, I guess, just want something low key in terms of like, I just want a few nice photos.
Or they're equally appreciative of those little moments that I hunt out, or the kind of things that they do miss as much as kind of that big stuff. Which I think, again, I had another point that I want to come to, because I've done 2 split coverage weddings this year, which I think we could come back to, because the idea of what you've just said links into a point really well that you've got on your list, doesn't it, about couple shoots.
Yes, does. Sorry, I had to think.
And I felt that we should. That would be a better segue into talking about that kind of. Maybe that's why I haven't worked with videographers or content, because I don't lean on those moments. Where you had an instance. Well.
Yeah. So recently, I had a wedding with a lovely couple, and it was a very, very sunny day. The sun was super high, so during the reception drinks, we couldn't really get anything, and it was quite intense as well after the ceremony, that kind of thing. And we were like, do you know what? We'll get stuff of you by the car and then we'll send you back to your reception.
So it was church first, wasn't it? And I feel like when you're trying to do 2 venues before dinner is always...
Yeah, I mean, it was in the same space. It was in the same area. So the marquee was set up in the church garden. But yeah, so we just did a few shots there and then moved on. But they weren't very good because the light was so high and it was in their eyes and it was a whole thing. Had a really nice sunset later on in the day. So we went, okay, it's probably time to hit sunset now. Went to go and ask the couple... and they were like, "You're not bothered. I don't really want it." And like, bear in mind, we didn't have much, but they were like, "Yeah, we don't care. We just want to party now." So, like, the photographer, we worked really well together. It was an absolute great day. So this is no like shade against her. I'm just really interested.
No, it's not shade to anyone.
No,
I just think it's an interesting
I'm really
point.
interested in the debate. But the photographer said, well, it's a great sunset and we haven't got very many photos of you guys. You're going to regret this. So we're going to go out and do it now. Like, you say you don't want it, but you will regret it. So
it wasn't really an ask.
Yeah, like, it's happening. The groom was not happy. Like, we were basically dragging him, kicking and screaming out for a sunset shoot. What I will say is I think it was worth it because we did catch some good stuff. He sort of played ball for a bit before sending him back to the party. So we did get, as much as it was quite difficult, we did get some stuff. Like I said, if it was me, I would have been like, it's your wedding, you do what you want, you've paid me.
Yeah.
But equally, I understand but you've paid me to do a job. You're the one that tomorrow is going to be complaining because you haven't got any shots to send to, like, to do your announcement photo or whatever. So I was interested in what you thought about this and what other people think about this. Like, if the couple saying, no, we're not bothered about the couple shoot on the day when you know they have been before, are you going to convince them, or are you going to be like, just step back and let you do it?
I think for me, the first instance is if the couple say that they're not interested, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
If the groom said he wasn't interested, but the bride said to me, I really want to go, this means a lot to me, I would then be much more encouraging of going, look, mate, I'll make this as painless as possible for you. Just get out, just be with me for 5 minutes. Like, I don't need to take you out for long, but the longer that you're kind of engaged for and into it, the quicker we'll be back.
Yeah.
And I would push then, because I've had that a couple of times where I know that the groom should be, I'm done with photos, mate.
Yeah.
But I know that the bride had really sold, she'd booked based on the sunset stuff. We got the nice sunset and that sort of stuff. I think I would always try and lean in that if one was interested and the other wouldn't, I'd try and talk the other one round even for a short while. But I think if they were a united front of our photo time of couples is done, we're now in the party window of the day and that's where we want to stay, I think I would go, fair play, I'll just get some cracking party photos for you. Because I think the construct, and like, again, there's a whole episode in this, I think, or something that I kind of talk about or think about a lot, is what do you define as a couple photo? Do they both have to be looking at the camera? Does it have to be on a dedicated couple shoot? Like them walking through a confetti aisle, it's a couple photo. Them their first kiss, it's a couple photo. Any of those images they could use and say, this is an image of the two of us, and could use, if that was what they wanted, they could do that. But I know that, and there is still value, and whether mine are long or short or whatever, I just don't think you need to be away for a long time making hundreds of images in couple shoots. That people probably only post the same handful each time. So why not only make that a shorter thing to choose from? But I think for me, it would always be, again, yes, I've been hired to make by the couple, and it's hard to not feel lazy and go, well, fine, if you don't want to go, I'll just sit here then. You're not doing it because of that. It's listening and going, okay, if that's not what you do want, you clearly want to party. And you'd hope that the party would be better because you haven't taken them away from it. And if the handful is, okay, they get less couple shots, but you fill the gallery with sick party photos, then who's lost? That's my take on it anyway.
No, I completely agree. And I said, obviously, like, my second shooter at the time, he agreed with the photographer. He was like, yeah, I would have done the same. I was in the other boat of, I probably would just let him to it.
I don't think there is a right or wrong,
the bride appreciated it. She was like, so while we were doing it, she's like, I appreciate the dedication. Like, you guys are clearly very into what you do. So I appreciate that. Groom, not so much. But that, like, we obviously didn't want it. Like, they didn't want it, but I think it was worth it. And
I'd be interested to see what the wash up is once the final deliverables come to them via the photographer and by yourself. For him, hopefully, to look back and go, oh, fair play, that does look amazing. Like, we were only out for 5 minutes.
It was worth it.
Fair play.
Most people do. Most grooms do. I don't know if you noticed. Like, I've had a few grooms who have been absolutely miserable during the shoot, and like afterwards, I've had a WhatsApp from the bride. Like, he's actually really happy with it and stuff.
Again, I think I've got a Google review which I had last year, which a groom wrote, which I find hilarious. And I think that the opening line is, when we booked our wedding, I didn't even want a photographer. And it was like, and then the second line is like, I'm so glad that my wife convinced me otherwise. And I think a lot of it is, maybe particularly if they're a little bit older or they've seen their friends have bad experiences, or sometimes it's second time around for them, they've had bad experiences with photos in the past. There's a lot of connotation, I think, with a wedding photographer or a wedding film as to what they think it's going to be.
Like a rule book.
And if they think, again, that they're going to be taken out to kind of be like led through this kind of performative, like, okay, well, now do the spin and now do the dip and now do a walk and now put your hands on their, like, you know what I mean? Almost you're being fed kind of things. if I was kind of semi-drunk and enjoying the party, well, mate, I'm not sure I'd be up for that level of it again.
Yeah.
For like the things we said earlier, before dinner, you'd probably be polite and play ball. But when you're that later into the evening, you're a bit more honest if you've had a couple of drinks and you'd be like, nah, mate, I'm not fussed.
Yeah.
But again, it's that fine line of walking of them going, trust me, you do want this.
Yeah. But that's like with the speeches. The bride did a speech. And like, again, I don't know what you guys, videographers listen to this think, but I said, okay, time to mic you up. And she was like, no, I'm good. I was like, oh, but what about the audio? Like if the PA system breaks or whatever and you put that down, it has got the mic wrapped around it, then you won't be captured. So I'm fine with that. I was like, are you sure? Like, and again, like, do you then say, look, this is my job, I'm going to mic you up? Or but I just stepped back and was like, if you're happy that if the PA system breaks, you ain't getting any, or the audio's going to be naff. And she's like, I don't care, it's fine.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Like, and again, you'll hear, because we recorded this morning, in the episode that when we have the questions for each other that comes out in a couple of weeks' time, we talk again, don't we, about how much the couples care about kit and stuff and this and that. And I think it leans into that. It's like, if they feel, no, I'm fine, that's going to almost hinder my experience of doing this or whatever, that maybe is a better thing. And I think sometimes, particularly in this almost content world that we have now, is that there is that urge for, no, you do want this because that's a part of it. And I think, no, like if there's some couples that go, oh, we're fine, we don't need that. They don't need everything. Do you know what I mean? Like some couples only want, as long as they get that handful of good photos or they get that great minute teaser, that's all they want out of what they booked you for. And just because you want to give more or selfishly you want more for whatever, I kind of think is like, sometimes we definitely do probably over-deliver or try and preempt our couples' wants more than we think they do. Yeah. And again, how much of that stuff there's probably some chunks of galleries or chunks of what we deliver that they just go, oh, I didn't even need that.
I think there's a combination of things. It's one, the kind of social rule book that we've created around weddings, specifically wedding photography.
Yeah, it's
not so much
videography, I think.
But their wedding photography must have this, it must have this. And so, like, I work with a lot of photographers who at dinner are sat there panicking because they've had bad light. They've had harsh shadows during the. Oh, but I haven't got anything like really like nice and flattering of the couple and whatever. And half the time I'm like, just don't worry about it. Like it's cool. Like I'm sure they're completely fine.
Also, they were there too. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like they know what the light was like. Yeah.
So it happens a lot, and I think that's this societal. I think also, obviously, we're self-employed. Most of us love our jobs.
Yeah.
And so we want to do the absolute best job, but we think that to do the best job means doing what we do for every couple. As good as we possibly can. So when someone says, I don't want you to do this thing that's going to improve in quotations, my gallery or my video, you go, like almost like they're hindering your
exactly that
way of doing
I think again, because you're that kind of all-seeing eye that you might have even done, that's not even the first wedding you might have done that month at that venue, let alone ever at that venue. And if you go, I was here last time it was sunny, we were able to get this, the bar in your head is naturally, it's got to look as good as my last job. And the couple are different, or the weather's different, or they're different, or any number of reasons why you're not going to be able to replicate work of that quality or whatever. And it's not about that, is it? It's just kind of, no, as long as you can make them happy and make something that kind of you're proud of, that is enough. And I think there is kind of these invisible kind of shackles that we put on ourselves that, you'd beat yourself up if there's not a first kiss, if there's not this, it's not that. And it's like, you've got to treat every job as the job in front of you and the day in front of you and the people in front of you, haven't you? And once you kind of can free yourself of those confines of going, I've just got to make them this thing. Like, it doesn't have to have anything.
Yeah.
And once you free yourself of that, like, the sky's the limit, I think.
Agreed, yeah. Like, you have your style, you have your way of doing things, but at the end of the day, because every wedding is different, you have to treat every wedding like it is different and not try and fit it into those, like, the square peg of the
and again, like if you say, I do these previews and I always include a bridal portrait by a window and a this and a that, it's like, well, what would you when you get to a wedding where their bride there's not like window light or she doesn't have confetti? And it's like, well, now I can't do those photos, and then you spiral and it's like, but other things are going to happen instead. And it's like, I think it's that kind of, and again, I kind of that's one of the things that sits with me, I think, a long time, is that, what is a wedding photo? What does a photo have to have in it to make it a wedding photo? Or what does a photo have to be to make it a couple photo? Like, you can swap those things, they're interchangeable at any moment, and what couples want from those things are different. Like, some people want that like really posed perfection thing, and they almost be led through that. and some couples really don't, and so they're never going to want the same thing.
An image of them just hanging out, somewhere, or sat at the dinner, like wedding breakfast table, just looking at each other, or whatever it is, like having a chat with each other.
And it could be anything, couldn't it? And I think it's that, and I think that maybe links kind of back round to the. But I was saying where I've done, say, these 2 weddings this year, which I don't think I've ever done before, where essentially I have done a bit, come home and gone back again, like split coverage. Both of them booked fairly short notice. And again, it's worth saying they were both in Portsmouth. They were both registry office, town hall, like local town ceremonies.
So you could come home.
And basically. Then on to, that town hall is 10, 12 minutes from my house. They have both had ceremonies with probably at most 12 to 15 guests. A lot of time, close family members, parents, grandparents, siblings, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then they've gone and had dinner in a restaurant somewhere, but not booked the restaurant, they've booked a table.
Yeah.
Sat and had a small meal, and then gone on to a hotel venue in the evening where they arrive and the evening guests are already there waiting for them, and they go into like an evening from there.
Yeah.
I had one that was at the Queen's Hotel, and then the other one had booked like a beach kind of front, kind of like cafe. They take tables out and dance. And do you know what? It actually worked. It did definitely feel like a game of 2 halves. But in terms of, like you were talking about kind of post-dinner and pre-dinner, the attitudes to both were very different. Because when I rocked up in the day, I think they booked me for that because they wanted wedding coverage. But it was so nice to kind of tidy all of the kind of formal stuff into a neat little box.
It's like almost having your like when you have a destination wedding, when you have the day of and then you have the day after,
which
is a bit more like, the day after is a bit more like party, chill. Whereas
and it felt like that, but on the same day. So literally I went to the registry office, did the ceremony's short, isn't it? It's like 12, 15 minutes at most. You come down the stairs, you do confetti. I did groups. I did probably like a handful of portraits there as they're waiting for their taxi to take them to dinner, and it's like, see you in a couple of hours. I literally were able to come home, back that stuff up, grab something to eat, maybe walk the dog, and then get back to the reception venue. And as I get there, then guests are milling in, they're getting their champagne, but they're ready to party. A lot of them turn up without their jacket on, or they haven't got that kind of like formal bit for the day and then loosen up. They're there to party. And the couple then kind of burst into like an entrance, have a few little speeches, and then it's just party. So, and it really worked. Like, I think it wouldn't work if I had to travel. I wouldn't be able to do it if I had to travel further than that or whatever. And I don't know if it's worth enough making a dedicated package for it. But at the same time, it has almost been really fun to almost go, okay, we'll do the ceremony bit, we'll do the formal bit. But when you come back in the evening, it's just all about the party. And don't get me wrong, I've done portraits at both of the evenings because they've had nice evenings. But so much more chill.
It's like, all expectation is now gone. We're not in wedding mode anymore. We're in wedding party mode.
We're in party mode. Like, I haven't got to pay more because Nan went home after dinner. So it's like I haven't got. There's not that kind of element to it, or like those things and stuff. So kind of like and all of that kind of time pressure or attrition of a wedding day of chasing a schedule was kind of gone. Because they did the ceremony bit and then no one else they made their reservation for dinner,
and people know exactly what to expect from each part of the day. So like you say, Nan can go home if she's like, well, I'm not going to party. Like
I'm not missing out on really anything.
Winter's weddings where like early days everyone gets steaming and you just sort of see the old like as soon as the first dance is done, like all of the grandparents and uncles and that just go, right, I'm off, because people are just, and by the same token,
like the friends and the plus ones that don't really want to sit through the ceremony don't have to. But then again, all those like lovely, warm, huggy moments that you get in drinks reception, you still get when the couple burst through the door at the reception because they've still never seen her in her dress from earlier in the day those things. So kind of it really did feel almost like the best of both worlds. It still felt a little bit weird not doing prep because I like that kind of setup in the morning of kind of just being at the registry office when they arrive. But it's just kind of odd or something new for me that, again, when you're this far in and try to do something different, I was kind of skeptical about how it would work or how I'd feel about just kind of being there for so short and then just coming back for the evening, knowing that, again, probably a lot of my kind of, real standout images are made during drinks receptions, not on the dance floor. But I will say that I think those two stand out as particularly good dance floors of the year. And I think I've probably had some of my best parties that I photographed this year than I have done in a good couple of years.
We spoke about gallery transitions though. How do you work that out?
It's hard, I must admit, because again, and you'll hear this when we do in the episode in a couple of weeks' time when we talk about kind of working solo and using transitions. I kind of have to leave out the restaurant bit all told. So my parting shots from both of them are the couple walking, registry office, then walking away, their cabs waiting. and then
it almost feels like they move then straight onto the party
yeah. So
bit,
again, if they wanted to book me for the restaurant bit, I would have done, and I would have liked that really. If anything, I was on a full day with them, I would have happily gone to dinner with the 12 people and stood in the restaurant and taken those shots.
I only ask because there's a video it'd be really difficult to make.
Yes.
Well, I would find it difficult to make a split coverage video like that.
Yeah, so, I think it would be really difficult. And I think in terms, I would like to have stayed at the restaurant to almost get that little bit of the day, because almost it does feel like it, doesn't it? If you look at the photos, it looks like they leave the registry office, and then the next thing is kind of like the first one that I did of it was March, so it was kind of then golden hour at the hotel, and then guests arriving, and then couple arriving later. So it almost feels like the 2 hours in the middle didn't exist. And with the one that I just did, it definitely felt like that. There's them literally getting into like a Pompey cab, and then the next time they appear is walking down the prom, you know, in the sunset in the evening. Yeah. So yeah, it is harder to kind of make that bit make sense, but I still had to kind of do my bit for that. Exactly. But then it still allowed me to kind of do much more kind of like establishing stuff at the evening venues. Yeah. Because I had time, because I was there before.
There, they know what to expect.
Yeah, I was there before the couple were. Yeah. So kind of I almost got that like guest arrival bit, which you normally miss because you're still over with the bride while guests are arriving at the ceremony space. So yeah, odd, but again, it's nice to kind of do something different and a new challenge. And I would definitely be open that if I could get some more of those at venues that were literally 10 minutes from my house, so I could pop home.
I'm doing my absolute ideal wedding next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's probably quite dramatic saying that, but I'm filming an American couple, and they're doing a wedding in the UK with the American time scales.
Nice.
So what they're doing is they're getting ready early, then doing their couples and groups and everything before the ceremony, and then have a ceremony, and then the whole cocktail hour is just reception drinks.
So you're into party from them, really,
talking, having and just like they're going off on the boat and just like enjoying their time together. So there's no like formalities at all during their reception drinks. And I've always said that the American way of doing it is better, because the reason, and we've just been through it with you saying like you were trying to catch up with this wedding as a photographer. The reason is because for UK weddings, once a ceremony hits, you're in formalities mode until the wedding breakfast.
100%.
Whereas for like these Americans, I don't know if everywhere in America is like this, but they have their couple, like they have a first look, then they do their couple shots, then they move on to family shots, get all that stuff done. Yeah. Then when the ceremony hits, it's party time.
Yeah, so that kind of like natural emotional lift as you exit the ceremony, there's no, we've got to go off for couples or we've got to go off for groups while everyone's there. Yeah. I must admit that I had a wedding in May this year, which kind of followed that. And I would say I delivered it a couple of weeks ago. And I think it is my favourite complete gallery that I've delivered in some time. Yeah. Like the one that I'm most proud of, should I say. And that was for a really quite reserved couple. But again, they got ready pretty much together in the morning on site at the place. Yeah. So they didn't even really want a first look, but they saw each other and then they walked into pretty much 45 minutes of greeting guests before they got married. Nice. So then literally 10 minutes before the ceremony, they walked off to their interview together. Yeah. They got all of the guests seated. Then they kind of walked in, got married, and then walked out again. They did like a loop around the garden while we got everyone lined up for confetti. Yeah. And then again, they went into another 2 hours of drinks reception. So I literally was in my prime favourite, like candid mode. Yeah. They had a list, I think, of 4 or 5 group photos to do. Yeah. It was literally like parents and immediate family on both sides. There was no bridesmaids. There wasn't a best man. Yeah. There was just this group of people. So I waited till literally 10 minutes before dinner to just go, I'm just going to grab these now. All the friends can go in and sit. I'm just going to grab these photos now. And it was almost seamless. And then again, because it was like, again, sort of like mid-May, didn't get dark till late. They had dinner. There wasn't really speeches. As the couple were announcing, they came in and kind of thanked people for coming. And that was it. And then they came back out again to like another sort of like half an hour having like tea and coffee on the terrace before cake cut, and then the evening. Yeah. So the whole day, I didn't have to really command or conduct anything. Yeah. Like I literally, after those family groups, I just took them for a walk in the nice light through the long grass on the way to dinner.
Yeah. Just in documentary mode.
Yeah. So I did one couple shoot of about 10 minutes. I did 4 separate group photos, and the rest of the day was literally storytelling.
But isn't that better then? Because you can get in the zone of each thing. Like if you've got time to do couple shoot, like I find with these weddings that we do, it's in reception drinks, you've got 10 minutes to do a couple shoot. So like you best, you got 10 minutes before because everyone's getting announced into the room and counting down. Thanks, Siri. Because the venue wants you back for dinner or whatever it is. You've got 10 minutes. You've got 20 minutes for the group shots because, there's other things to do and the couple want to get back to their guests. Then you've got 10 minutes for candids. And 10 minutes to film, like get some wedding breakfast detail shots, and because of that, you're never doing anything. You're constantly chasing your own tail, so you're never doing anything in the 100%.
Yeah, you're you're capturing whatever happens in that time window.
Yeah.
You're not letting it come to you or let it play out naturally.
Yeah.
And I think in the kind of wash up or the debrief that I gave myself after that wedding, I think that is why it's a gallery that I'm most proud of. They weren't a big number of people. There were probably 60 people there at absolute most. But because I had time to just wander through, I could sit and wait for people to go, oh, this conversation's building. Okay, I'll take my frames and I'll move. I didn't have to go, I need to get this for what it is now because I'm on to the next thing. I could literally
wait for the laugh.
I spent the whole day just wandering through the day, looking, listening, framing up. And it was so nice to kind of say there was no real kind of time constraints of I've literally got 15 minutes to get as much candid stuff as I can before we go into groups, because it just didn't exist. It was so much nicer. I probably stayed a little bit later than I normally would. I was definitely there too early, but that it kind of really cemented that, like, do you know what? This is how I make my best work. Yeah. Not when I'm under.
I just had a weird image of you working alongside that. You working as a second for your own business,
pretty much.
While the first
that's almost how it felt, really.
Some groups and couples and that, you did the stuff that you enjoy. Like, imagine, like, that would actually, you'd make an insane album if you just got someone really editorial on your side to do all of those bits, and you went and did candids. It'd be crazy.
But it's really funny because then the portraits that I made on that day for a couple which had expressed concerns about how they were worried about how they would look in couples are probably some of my proudest couple moments that I've taken.
Yeah.
And it was so short. It was a lot of like, walk, okay, just stop there. Like, whatever, the light was right, the venue was right again, so we didn't have to be out for long. They didn't want lots, so I had the comfort of, like, give us 3 really good ones rather than 20 minutes of just they wanted quality, not quantity and stuff. So, and again, I didn't feel any pressure to take them back out again in the evening or to, like, I said to them in the meetup, oh, so you're having a first look then if you're getting ready together? Well, not really, because I'll put my suit on, she'll get dressed, and then we'll walk around together. Yeah. They definitely didn't want. There was zero performance, I think, in any of that wedding. There was nothing that was like, oh, let's do this because it'll make a cute photo.
Yeah, and that's
and I think that was maybe why it made it such kind of like, this is great. This is where I need. This is where I need to be. So, I need to almost allowed to be a second photographer for my own business. It was lovely. Which again, kind of, I feel like we're moving through this kind of very naturally. I feel this year, in the half the year that I've done, I have probably felt the most comfortable doing my job. I feel like I've got some of the loveliest praise from the couples that I've delivered for so far. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing a really good job of getting the clients that I want and keeping them happy. Yeah. The biggest struggle that I'm finding is getting new ones.
So, not to sound like a broken record, but it's a weird world out there, isn't it, in terms of, like, we've both been chatting to each other about our inquiries and saying, like I messaged you the other day, like, oh, do I need to do this to my website, or is there something that you can see on my website that might be why I'm getting tons of views on the website but no one's really clicking through to contact? I say nobody, but, like, it's less than the average for a year basically so far. So it's a bit of a different.
It is odd, definitely. Yeah. I found that. And again, kind of working on my game of two halves thing, I took a holiday at a similar time last year and kind of said, I'd known for a while the prices need to go up. And I was like, if I'm half booked for the following year, by the time I get to this holiday, I'm going to put my prices up. And so last year when I went on holiday, I hit my 15 weddings by the end of June. Yeah. And didn't put my price up, so I was scared because the price was low. Yeah. So obviously,
you eventually did.
We spoke about later in the year. So early this year, I put my price up to where it kind of needed to be. Yeah. And again, I think we've done enough episodes kind of talking about pricing and kind of ghosting and stuff. So I don't want to dwell on that. But the consequence of that meant that I'm going to go on this holiday only having 9 or 10 weddings in the diary. So I'm arguably a third booked rather than half, which I'm not sorry about. I think the conversations I'm starting to have, they're starting to slowly come. But again, they're not coming in the volume that they were. Inquiries definitely seem harder to work for, harder to come by. Yeah. Or there's a lot of people out there at the moment, or the people that are willing to commit at this stage are the people that are probably more price-led or wanting short coverage, or they know that there's less people that are going to be willing to do 2 hours for them on a Saturday. And so they're trying to find those.
You don't want to pull the trigger on those 2 hours for key dates.
And the only comforting thing that I think I can take from it is the wedding that I've just spoken about and one that I'm working on at the moment are probably so far some of the work that I'm proudest of, couples I felt most aligned to their days. And both of them booked me in either the very closing months of last year or very early this year. Yeah. And I shot their wedding within 6 months, of the day. So all I've got to do is believe that in order to get the weddings which are going to make me happiest is the type of people that do those book within 6 months of the day.
Yeah.
So,
and I've got a similar situation where
most
people say like winter's the booking season, but I get most of my bookings between like July and October.
Yeah.
Because I guess I post more on Instagram. I'm more like I'm going to more weddings. Like if you've done 14 already, then you've had all those stories and stuff go out already, whereas I've had like half the amount of those kind of things. Some of them have not been things that I want to post on Instagram, that kind of thing. So I find most of my bookings come in that time, so I've got to sort of wait for that. I'm probably 2 behind what I was this time last year, which could be a lot worse, but it's still not where I want to be, and I can see that the pattern going that way. If
I think whilst, and I always say this, is when you speak to people in kind of your community or groups, it definitely seems to be a trend across the board. I'm finding a lot of people that even people that used to field very high numbers of inquiries are finding that their volumes are lower than they used to be. Other people's volumes don't pay my bills. I've always said that. So in some ways, I can't worry too much about what other people are doing. But at the same time, it's nice. It is reassuring to know that it's probably nothing that we are doing. Yeah. If anything, it's more talking about a booking shift or an attitude towards booking.
Yeah.
All told.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a fair thing to say. And I feel we've done our share of episodes on bookings this year, so I don't want to kind of go into it loads. But that's the kind of the saddening thing. Thinking, well, I've had all these amazing people, I'm getting amazing feedback, I feel like I'm making amazing work. So why is none of that like juicy enough that it's swinging the deal for other people to then go, we want that too? So
especially when you're making the work that you're most proud of. I think that that's when it really hits. Like I think we were both at a point where like I agree with you in that like the work I have now on my website is the best I've ever made. I'm so happy with everything that I'm showing and making the content that best suits me, I think. But then to be like, oh, I'm making the content that I love, but does anyone else?
I think it's hard, isn't it? And I think, again, like when you sent me that voice note, it's kind of hard to know, or you're always your own biggest critic, or when things are quiet, the easiest thing is to always blame yourself. Or, again, maybe if you're arrogant, it's not, but I think if you want to fix it, it's far easier to go, well, what can I do to fix it? Or what am I doing wrong so that I can make it right?
Yeah.
And it's really hard when the chances are that it's nothing that you need to do. It's just kind of just keep on, or hold your nerve, or steady the storm, or whatever it is, isn't it?
Well, sometimes it's visibility. I am when I do look inwards, I know that I've spent 10 years not spending a penny on marketing.
Yeah.
So if I told someone right now who's not a wedding videographer or photographer, like the bookings are a little bit slow, and I'm like, so what are you doing to market? Nothing.
Yeah.
Post a few stuff on Instagram. Like, so it may be that, like, I know that there's stuff I could be doing.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. And I know that the industry is changing and visibility is more important than ever. And so I think there's a lot of that involved.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be adapting to that. I think I must admit though that I find it very obvious, or I really know the photographers that are using ads to market, because I'm getting their ads a lot.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a good thing if you're a couple looking for a photographer.
But there's a lot of photographers and videographers who used to be very booked and now they're churning out Google ads.
Yeah.
And like that just shows everything, I think.
The attitudes are changing again in order that, but I feel like socials are changing. It's almost like the same things happen to Insta now that used to happen to Facebook. Organic reach was great, and now it's not. There's a price tag attached to it and things like that. But again, it's a whole other episode in itself, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's still one of those things that it's just something to kind of comment on. That, you know, if we're kind of doing this comparison of year on year, I am down on where I was at this point last year.
There are other factors as well, like you've raised your prices. For me, I've started to upsell a lot more. Like I'm getting a lot more keepsake edits on the upsell, and that's been very handy. Like to up, because I have like a spreadsheet with like my average booking for the year. And each, like, as long as it goes up, that my average goes up and my total goes up each year, I'm happy, and I can do less weddings.
So that number that you were chasing last year isn't as high as it needs to be, as long as that average spend stays up.
And some of that comes, 9-10 months after the wedding, when they get the email saying, your footage is going to be archived or whatever. Do you want to book that keepsake edit before there's no backup of it and it might be deleted at some point? And a lot of people do, and like the content package and things like that, which I'm going to remove, and I've put that in my notes as well. But like little upsells that actually mean that I don't need to do as many, because I'm doing a lot more for the people that I have.
And I guess as well, because for the things we've just said, is because your weddings are more sort of like pocketed. That 10 months after July falls at this point. And it's like, but then you might have loads of those emails go out at once. If you literally said, I'm going to do 2 weddings a month for the entire year, that's my 24 weddings. There'd be a constant roll of those emails going out 10 months after as well. But because your weddings are kind of more clustered, those emails, the upsells go out in clusters as well, which means that you end up with kind of lots of pockets of high demand and then lots of kind of downtime in the middle, isn't there? Or catch-up time in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of odd, and I think again, kind of moving through from pricing again is one of the big sort of signifiers for me to want to put my prices up this year, or the need to put my prices up this year. I'd say is one, I didn't do it for 4 years, it needed to happen, but also as well, I did. I started this journey with film again last year, introducing that to weddings. I shot at least a roll at every wedding last year to kind of have a backlog of stuff to share. Yeah. And then this year, I found that I've had 2 weddings this summer where I've shot my record amount, and I've done 5 rolls at weddings as well as digital. And there's a cost to that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the film stuff is really helping with my visibility. Couples are responding well to it. They're really wanting to lean into that, which is good, because I think the work that I'm making from the film, I feel like with every set of scans that I get back from the lab, I'm finding more of a groove of, okay, I need to use that stock in that moment, or if I can shoot this roll up to that point, I can change to this. I'm kind of finding my workflow with it. Yeah. And the stuff that is coming back from the scans is really exciting, and I kind of feel that work speaks far more to me sometimes than my digital stuff, or it's helping me kind of the way that I shoot all told, because I'm kind of pacing with the film, it's helping me pace with the digital as well. I think I'm probably shooting a little bit less at weddings, but what I deliver is not going down.
It adds some joy as well. It's like, this is for me, this is for you. So
definitely that. I think there's definitely that element to it. And again, the way that couples respond to you on a day, they're used to seeing someone walk around with a holdfast and 2 cameras and this and that, and then they go, oh, that camera looks different, or oh, that's odd. Yeah. And people react to it in a different way, or they kind of like the magic of seeing you in the corner, kind of like fiddling and like putting a roll of film in, or they don't expect it. Or then the older, kind of generation, they're like, oh,
I used to have one of those.
Back in my day, on the old film, and it's like, this is film. Yeah. And like, oh. Like, it's almost like they just kind of come to these young photographers now that just run around with mirrorless cameras. So it's kind of nice to have that, and people do respond to it in a different way. Yeah. But I am also as well, when we did our end of year episode, we set our own goals in there, and also we talked in the year about kind of having like a little journal book that I do, and I set myself some goals in my journal for the start of the year, and one of them was to shoot 100 rolls of film this year. Yeah. Not just at weddings, but personally as well, kind of move over to using that. I said I wanted to live a more analog life, and shooting film was a part of that. And with the set of scans that I got back 2 days ago, that puts me at, so far, I've shot 48 rolls this year. So I'm pretty much on track, knowing that there will be some rolls that come on holiday with us. Yeah. I've got another big trip in October, plus the 14, 15 weddings that I've got left this year. I am firmly on track that by the time that I finish the end of the year, that I would have put that 100 rolls.
Does that include the blank one you sent off?
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. That would make me 49. Okay. Yeah, so again, we'll add this story in. For anybody who's thinking about using film, I've done pretty well. I did 60 rolls last year, so I'm 50 in this year. This is the first time that I've got the dreaded email from my lab going, we've put one of your rolls through and there is nothing on it. It's literally got the numbers on the edges, but there is nothing on it, which hints that more or less either you left the lens cap on, the camera would never expose them. The problem was that I bought myself a new film camera a few weeks ago, and the only roll there was only one roll of film amongst this 17 or 18 rolls that I sent off that had come through that camera. That was a test roll. So I instantly went to, I've bought a dud camera. If there's one roll that hasn't come out, it's got to be that camera, because all of the others have only come from 2 other cameras, and multiple rolls have gone through them. Got them back, looking through the scans, it's like, well, there's my test roll. It's black and white. It's the roll I put through. So what am I missing? And then I had to then work out what roll wasn't there. Yeah. And it was a roll that I'd shot during a drinks reception. So I tend to do at the moment a roll in the morning to do kind of prep to ceremony, then a roll in the drinks reception and groups, and then a higher ISO roll for kind of speeches and evening. Yeah. And then on top of that, I'll add in the medium format for kind of portrait sessions and stuff. So I was like, it's that roll that I'm missing. I'm missing a roll that goes over drinks reception and groups. So I was like, it's not the end of the world. I shot 4 more rolls at their wedding. There's enough there to film to deliver. Brilliant. Went to my wedding, in the evening. I went back to my split coverage day. Yeah. Opened my little pouch that I have in my bag to get the roll of film out I was going to shoot that evening. And was like, there's a roll of portrait in the bottom of there. And it hasn't got the little tabby bit on it. I was like, that means it's been shot. And I was like,
there must be the blank one.
That's the roll of film. And obviously in my haste, because I don't have a system at the moment, once I shoot the rolls, I just put them back in the same pouch and then realise the ones that have got tabs sticking out are the unshot, the ones that aren't are. And in my haste to obviously get it off to the lab, I obviously grabbed the rolls out and grabbed the other roll of portrait that hadn't been shot.
Yeah.
And just put an unshot roll through the lab. So not only did I waste the 15 quid that the roll cost me, luckily the lab are gracious enough that if you get a blank roll, they refund you the scanning cost.
Yeah.
So you only pay them for the development, which is a smaller amount of money, but I still pretty much might as well just roll 25 quid up and flush it out the toilet. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But again, there's lessons to be learned in also.
Exactly, yeah.
I think again there could have been a far worse outcome than that. I could have lost the film, lost whatever, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or again, I think that was the kind of the cautionary tale of, because before that I was like, yeah, I could shoot whole weddings on film now. It'd be so not. And then you're like, crap, if that happened, I'd lost the group photos.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of maybe we'll keep weathering this. Maybe we'll bring the balance up a bit more,
first,
but or keep shooting alongside. That was definitely kind of the weather of that. But again,
that like my camcorder stuff is starting to get traction with my couples as well now, and even though like I don't advertise it, I'm starting to get a lot of people who are on the inquiry calls saying, "Oh, we love the camcorder stuff you do," and even like people on the pre-wedding calls like, "Oh, we've noticed you started doing this." And the only issue I'm having is advertising it, because last year I decided to start implementing it for the weddings that I thought it would be good with.
Yeah.
But then I thought, oh, maybe I should advertise this as part of my package because it's quite a cool selling point. But then I decided to try and take it to a few weddings that I didn't think would suit the vibe, because maybe they asked for it or they didn't ask for it, and I thought maybe I'm just being silly. Maybe these will.
Yeah.
And generally it went quite badly. Yeah. So I've got a couple of weddings where they've got like a minute of camcorder footage, whereas like the ones that I know are going to do well, they get like an hour and a half of camcorder footage. And so I don't want to start advertising it to everybody, and then their guests don't film anything.
See, my instinct would say that you don't need to. I know that it is camcorder, there is a selling point in it. And again, it's quite clear in those teasers that you deliver what is camcorder and what's not, because of the way that you kind of add the VHS to make it kind of worse than it is. You change the aspect ratio and stuff. But you don't really advertise, and again, we cover this kind of in the episode when you talk about kit to a level. A couple know that it's a camcorder, and that's like your digital camera. But you don't have to specify. You could just say mixture of camcorder and analog footage. Yeah. But in your contract, just say that more is entirely up to your discretion.
Yeah.
Same with my film stuff at the moment. And until I have couples that really come to me and start adding extra roles and specify, my package at the moment is mixture of digital and analog coverage. And in my contract, it says I will shoot a minimum of 2 rolls of film at your wedding. For this is the stuff I'm booking for next year. The other stuff is a roll. It's 36 photos.
Yeah.
So the couples that get 5 rolls out of me, it's the weddings where I know the light's going to work, the visuals are going to work, the film is going to work. I'm not just going to be firing in bad light.
It's not me filming it. It's the guest. So I've got no control over it.
But that's what I mean. But you can see quite rapidly, can't you? That's what I mean. So even if you had it in Thingo, the camcorder will be offered at every wedding, but I will still use my artistic integrity to integrate this footage in a way to give you the best possible outcome. In the same way that if you use a second shooter that was really, really bad, you would literally use the bare minimum that you had to get the bits that you weren't there for to get them into the film. Where if you had a second shooter who was absolutely incredible, you might find that the weight of your shots are much more balanced. And it's the same with that, isn't it? Really, I think I think you can market it, but rather than then slap a kind of an add-on price tag on it and go add the camcorder for 200 quid.
It's just a nice selling point though.
Yeah,
it's just.
But I think again, there's easy to make a reel on it.
Yeah.
If you could then film a bride using it or whatever and go,
I've done a few of them,
and again, you could easily have that, I think, as reels, or have it in your package to flesh out the offerings. You know, if you've got someone again that's maybe looking for Super 8 or looking for something more nostalgic than just your 4K stuff, if you put in there mixture of mirrorless and camcorder coverage or whatever, it's really on them then, isn't it? And then just cover yourself in the contract, which we all know your contract is good enough as it is. And, insert advert for Chris's contract here to go. But is it still on the shop?
Removed it. So it's on the shop. Yeah, it's still on the shop. I've removed the education page on my website because I'm trying to condense it down to just what is important. And I don't think it's still on my website, but it's not on the top bar anymore. I've taken destination off of there. I've taken education off of there, just because destination wise, I only want probably a couple a year maybe, and it doesn't, for 2 weddings a year, it doesn't deserve a spot on the header. And education-wise, I think anyone who's going to buy it probably listens to this or follows on the UK Wedding Videographers group, which I post on about it anyway.
And this is something that we spoke about, isn't it, in the last episode, when we were talking about the ghosting and stuff, and we were saying then that we were both going to make efforts to simplify our contact forms, simplify, almost remove any of those kind of other stumbling blocks or adverts. And I know that you could say that education is maybe an enabler to book, because I think, well, if you're educating other photographers and stuff, but it's still something else that clutters up that kind of journey at the top nav, and the people that are looking for it, again, would go hunt it out in the footer or wherever, or message you and go, oh, do you have offerings for this? You've still got a page where it lives. If someone searched for it, they would find it. But it still means that when someone logs onto yours, you've not got 10 things to overwhelm them in your top nav anymore. It's pretty much home, about, portfolio, contact, and it makes it super simple.
Super niche down. But if you are looking for a wedding videography contract, then hit me up, because I do sell one. So
and there are previous episodes,
and there's loads of episodes,
there's loads of cool things in it, and also, Chris is on holiday; he's got cocktails to pay for. So if you could order it while we're away, that would be lovely. I think, again, also like leaning onto that as well, I kind of feel that, in this kind of age of analog life and bookings being harder, I am finding Instagram a little bit more of a wild ride than I'd like it to be at the moment. I know maybe some of it is coming out of desperation or people trying to make anything stick. I feel like there's some stuff that I post, and again, from starting to follow maybe more analog accounts or things, I'm finding my kind of corner of the internet or Instagram that I like more. But the real stuff, like, I'm so done with the, like, tell me your photography nightmares, the hot takes, the rage bait of, like, I'm going to make out that I broke my camera and actually, I broke it because my bride's so beautiful. Like, I'm just done with it. Like, that, like, falseness, or kind of, again, I don't want my couples to perform for me at their wedding, so why should I have to perform on Instagram to get them to book me? I don't, it's very
all
much...
the stuff you just mentioned, literally just gives me, like...
It's very much that, chatter. And I kind of think, it's just hard. And I kind of think I just want to show up authentically at a pace that is not overwhelming. But I feel like the Instagram algorithm at the moment is literally in, like, hyperdrive. That, like, if you sent me a reel about a dog and I opened it, my work Instagram then, and that account would just be full of dog. Like, it responds to very kind of anomalies in your usual content super quickly.
I saw a car the other day, a Polestar, and I looked it up on Google, and then I opened Instagram and it was there already. Like, just all these ads about it on my stories, on my page. I was like, I don't want to buy the car, I was just looking it up. Do you know
but up to now, I feel like I've managed to keep a pretty nice balance between my personal or non-wedding account and my wedding account. So I wasn't seeing those wedding photography adverts on my personal page, and I wasn't seeing, again, like, the kind of stuff that I follow, my kind of tattoos, analog film cameras, food stuff on my weddings account. But I feel like now that line is blurring more,
because it knows that you're sharing accounts between. So if I have my personal Instagram, it comes up with, like, wedding stuff a lot of the time, and it's like, oh, here we go.
So and again, I think if I'm finding socials to be a wild ride at the moment, I'm sure that couples are and stuff as well, or trying to spend again, the visibility thing, if we're not maybe pushing ourselves front and center with adverts and things like that, or posting super often, it is harder or easier to get kind of caught in the loop. So
I made a reel quite recently about the camcorder. It did really well, and someone said, you should post that again, but cut it down to 20 seconds. I was like, but I really liked a minute worth of it. I liked the video a minute long, and they're like, but it would do better for 20 seconds. And I was like, but, like, do I become a slave, or do I just do what I want? And, like, for the last couple of years, I've been doing what I want.
Don't be a crab, Chris. Don't be a crab.
Exactly. But at the same time, like, by not doing that BTS and whatever, we'll never get the same amount of inquiries as the people that do it.
I don't know.
I think
think that's the problem, isn't it?
By not going in hard on what the algorithm likes, you're not feeding the monster.
But then it's hard, isn't it? Because I say, for all the things that we've just said, if I look at my little pie chart and it's Gia Ninja as to how do people find me, behind Google and kind of word of mouth, Instagram is still holding a solid chunk of that pie as to how people find me, or people tell me that they found me.
Google. So Google is higher than
Instagram. Now, as it used to tip, it used to be more word of mouth than Instagram. My word of mouth has actually tapered down a lot, and I think that's to do with price, because the people who would recommend me, I was cheaper then, and then maybe
I'll send this to you on WhatsApp, wasn't I? My word of mouth has tapered down.
But I find that my Google actually over the last few months has actually boosted, which is good, because after doing the mentoring last year, I did quite a lot of work to my site, and I've continued to kind of tweaking it. I've started to add a few more blogs and stuff in, which should start to feed Google traffic to my site. So I kind of think, okay, that should be working, but Instagram is still holding its own, even though that I'm struggling with it. So I'm far from binning it off, because I do love a scroll too much, but I wouldn't say that I'm really excelling with it either.
That's it,
So it's hard to know, kind of, well, am I doing that much of the wrong thing if it's still holding up this much weight in my inquiries?
I wouldn't say you did the
but
wrong
it was like,
thing.
if I was doing more, would that volume of inquiries then really increase?
Almost definitely.
But you don't know, do you? Then it's like, well, and also that kind of fickle level of inquiries. Do I want a lot of empty inquiries that are literally contacting off the back of one reel?
Yeah. No.
Like, it's hard to know, isn't
That's
it?
the whole thing about viral reels, though, isn't it? And stuff like that. It's like there's for the most part, there's 0 point in getting a viral reel unless it goes as viral as like, you know, the Joel videography one.
Yeah.
Which, has done.
And if someone's casual enough to literally go, I'll inquire off the back of that one reel, then we wonder why we're getting ghosted. Because if they're that responsive to like, I'll go and make a big investment like that or inquire about it off the back of seeing one thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
you
know, it's really, really hard. And so, I wish that when maybe as a podcast, people we feel that we should sit here and have the answers. But then I feel like we've done a lot of kind of putting answers out over the last few episodes. And this is a catch-up episode, so it's kind of telling you that we're probably feeling the same that you are
exactly,
where we're at. And I think we're getting on in kind of time now as well.
We should probably wrap it up a little
for
bit.
me, I think as you probably heard, I feel quite content. I remember sitting and writing my journal last night and kind of feeling that I literally, like, the whistle's about to blow on the end of the first half for me. I'm halfway through my film goal for the year. I'm halfway through my bookings. It's halfway, like, everything is kind of meeting that really kind of nice conclusion. And again, when you guys listen to this, we will be away. And I think to just have like 5 or 6 days out the office, out the country, and probably doing one of the slowest holidays that I've ever done. I've never done like an all-inclusive sit by the pool holiday ever.
That's exciting. That's going to be a first.
I feel kind of ready for that. I feel kind of ready for that and kind of have a bit of a rest.
Yeah.
Because I know I've got some good stuff coming up, but that kind of little wait or that little break will give me rested enough to get back into it and also excited to get back to it. Because, it'd be good.
That makes sense, I kind of feel like when I finished last year's weddings in April and then started straight away again. So I've not really had that, like, it's only... in May, it only started to feel like 2026, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you editing last year's weddings, it becomes like, it still feels like last year, so...
But it wasn't without good reason, again, wasn't it? Obviously, adapting to fatherhood,
of course,
you know, managing, you're never going to get that time back with that. So hopefully it's not every year it's going to be like that,
exactly.
But there's still consequences for that.
So I'm not feeling quite as content in terms of like, I'm caught up, I'm all good sort of thing. I still feel like a little bit like I'm chasing my tail, but I feel good about what I'm making, and I feel good about what's the weddings that are to come as well. So
good.
Hopefully, and our end of year review that we do will be like much of the same. Really.
Equally as positive, I think. To kind of feel fulfilled in it. And I think, again, like, you'll hear more of us talk about this in the episode we've got in a couple of weeks. And I think we've referenced that quite a few times. It's not like to hype it up. It's because we recorded it this morning.
Yeah, so it's fresh.
Fresh in our minds that we talk in that, don't we, about kind of longevity in the industry and staying in and tenure and stuff. And I think if you can kind of keep going through the years and finding new things to add in and new ways to enjoy it, but still kind of sitting on that core of, you know, the decade that's behind us.
Yeah.
That we should be on for a really good end of year. And again, I'm not going on this holiday because it's like I'm exhausted, I need a break from all of this work. It almost is like a kind of stop, reset, take stock, chill, and so that when we get to September we're not burnt out.
It's a hydration
because
break.
we've gone the whole way through. Pretty much
if you watch the World Cup,
really, it is a hydration, and that's exactly the best way to describe it, I think. And I urge all of you guys that if you are in the trenches doing big kind of numbers over the summer, is that make sure that even if you literally have a weekend or you have a wedding, or make sure you do take a couple of days in the week and book a spa day, go and sit in your garden and almost even just have a little bit of time.
Get some cocktails down, get steaming, play Uno.
But like a mindfulness break as well as a physical one, I think, is definitely the way to do it. From experience of people that have done those years and haven't taken a break or only booked the big holiday at the end of the season, and in the end you've got to it crawling and ill because you've left it too long, is that the little hydration break is needed, whether like say it is a day in your garden or a spa break with some mates, or it's a week.
We're bringing our beach balls and floaties and everything. You're gonna be living the all-inclusive life.
I feel that when this episode goes out, we should post a story from the pool. We should put one up so everyone can kind of see where we're at and what we're up to. So it'd be good
on the first day.
Amazing. We're not going to dwell on that too much. So again, I think the episodes that we've put out, particularly the last couple, we've had some really, really lovely feedback on as well. It's been really nice to kind of open that conversation up. A shout out to Adam Lowndes again as well, previous guest. He obviously shared, we had a little bit of a conversation about kind of the simplifying down of stuff after the ghosting episode. He was kind enough to share that in his Facebook group. If you're not in there, get in it. Listen to his episode as well that he did with us earlier in the year.
Yeah, he's got a really nice Facebook group where he sort of shares his ramblings and thoughts, and
much like we do on here.
Much like we do on here. And one of our things was about contact forms and how we're, as Tom mentioned earlier, trying to simplify our our websites and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's nice that Adam's taking some inspiration from the podcast, and hopefully everyone else is too.
And again, if you've got anything to add to it as well, don't feel that you can't reach out and message us because you've not been a previous guest or whatever. We will listen and talk to anyone. Everyone's opinion is valid.
Yeah.
And really, really open for the chat about any of it. So with all that said, we've made it through another really hot episode.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that I had like a pool to just want to run through the cameras and jump into now because I'm proper
Get
sweaty.
the cold plunge.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for sweating.
And we'll see you in
See you in the next one.
Yes.
Yeah, her hands.